Hit the record button.
All right.
All right. Hi, everybody. This is Chris.
This is Matt.
You can call him Betty. And when you call him Betty, you can call me Al.
I always have to be Betty.
You always got to be Betty. Well, you can be my bodyguard. I'll be your long lost friend. Um,
Listen to Paul Simon today or
yes.
something.
Yeah, it was a little bit. I like Paul Simon.
Nice.
I've also been listening to Elton John. Um,
There's nothing wrong with that.
no, got
Like some Elton John.
likes Elton John sometimes. In a weird mood. In a weird mood. Too much coffee, I think, is the problem this morning. But so, Chris, upper window. Matt, lower window. Doom, side window, other side. Whoop, camera makes me go weird.
Boy, you are on something.
I'm on caffeine today. Uh,
And
and
I'm like muted and
mute.
tired today. So
I've already had a full coffee and I'm on my second. Um, but anyway, we should if you have been watching our show for a while, welcome back. You're used to this. If you're new to the show, let me tell you what you're in for. Uh, every day or every month, we pick two games. We play both of them. One is our long game. We play it all month. One is our short game. We play it for a day or so, maybe more if we really had fun. And then we talk about them. Book club style. It's not a review, just our experience, just our opinion. Two assholes with an opinion. Take it as such. Enjoy in the comments. Wait till the end of the show for our next games. Play along with us and join in. If you want to have more comments and discussion, there's a subreddit for us, the Lost Sectors. We have a Patreon. We have a Discord channel. We have a bunch of stuff fans have set up for us, which is amazing. We thank them all. And yeah, that's our business of business today.
yeah, on to Doom.
On to Doom. Um, Came out in 1983 by id Software, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I bought this. I turned 13 in January of 1993, and on that day I learned that Doom had come out, and I called id Software to order it because Wolfenstein was my favorite game of all time, and when I was a kid, and so I had been waiting and waiting for Doom to come out, and like a lot of people have that experience with a bunch of different games, but I never had that experience. I'm never like the first person to get a game or anything like that. So it was a huge deal for me when I learned that Doom had released.
I get it. I totally get it. For me, it was one of those. It snuck up on me. I was kind of in college at the time. I was at college. Let's say I was at college. I wasn't taking classes, but somehow I was still in the computer lab a lot.
Hmm.
Um, just what I do. And I had found where all the people in the computer lab had kept their games on the network and made a little start disk for all my friends so that after hours we could play the counselor's Doom game networked. And it was my first real networking game deathmatch experience. It was
Yeah, it was
everything I
mine
wanted to
too.
be. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's for a lot of people. I mean, there's a reason why afterwards most games were called Doom clones.
Right. I mean, the Doom is a huge deal. Like it's commonly regarded as one of the best games ever
Ever.
made, and it kind of really launched the mass popularity of the first person shooter genre.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, there was Wolfenstein before it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but
Wasn't the
it
same.
wasn't quite as big a deal, you
No.
know. Um, but yeah, this thing was a huge deal, and everyone played it, and most people have memories about of it. I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, to kind of set up how big a deal it was, they released the first part shareware. That was sort of id's marketing model at the time. And the first place they released a shareware was a Texas BBS from the university. And they said, okay, midnight on this day, Doom's out, and it brought down the BBS. People were hungry for this.
Yeah, and they released the whole first level that you're playing here, the
Yeah,
first set of missions, a
yeah,
shareware, which was really pretty generous, I think.
really generous. First set of missions and multiplayer, all free, all good to go. You did not feel bad about going back and giving them money. Plus, you just wanted more levels, and it came with your own kit to make more levels. You could edit WADs and just kind of do whatever you wanted with the game. It's breaking on the modding level, the networking level, the just technical level. Um, and if you go through and like look at the developers who worked on this, just pick one at random, throw a dart at anybody on that list, and see what other games they did. I can almost guarantee they did another game that's one of your favorites. That's some emotional history thing to you. Like there'll be a game and they're like, yeah, I remember that game. I think the biggest three are obviously John Carmack, John Romero, and American McGee. And I don't
Yeah,
think he gets remembered enough for his part on Doom. He gets remembered for Alice and a couple other games he made, but he was in here. He was on Doom, making levels, being part of this.
yeah, yeah. And going back to it, like the the th- the thing that struck me was the level designs are so good. Like I didn't really appreciate that when I was a teenager playing it. It was, I mean, I knew the game was great, but I don't think I pinned it down to really appreciate how like rich and interesting the level designs were.
Yeah,
Uh, they're mind blowing.
they're really good, and most of them are Romero. Tom Hall did a bunch of them too. Tom Hall is not to be slighted in this. He did some good levels in here too. But I want to kind of mention that for a second because right after Quake, Romero left it, and it was sort of an unceremonious. He's leaving of his own accord with a firm hand on his back, pushing.
Right.
And I saw a lot of people on BBSs as we were getting ready for this. I went back and not BBSs, message boards and stuff like that, talking from years ago about that and about time and explaining it to people, and them saying, "Yeah, Carmack did the tech, and all Romero did was make levels." And that is so underselling how important this level design is for making this game as good as it is. The tech is great, but if no one plays it correctly, if no one uses it to really bring it out, it's worthless. And it's a perfect example of you need both. You need solid tech and solid design together to make a game as big as Doom.
Totally. Yeah, because the tech is so unique and interesting, and to really capitalize on it, I think you really had to have someone who understood, both the play experience and the
Mm-hmm.
technology of the game.
Yeah, and understood how to get a vibe for like that Evil Dead aliens together and bring that into something just campy, fun, and horror all at the same time. Um,
Yep. Yeah, the
yeah.
mood of this game is great. You like you start in like the base, and then you
Mm-hmm.
end up like in hell, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really great because the textures all get progressively kind of crazier, and the levels get weirder and weirder, and then at the end it's just pretty much bananas. You're just like
Yeah.
running around in hell with
Mm.
a chainsaw. It's ridiculous, but in a really great
Fun
way.
way.
Yeah.
I've paused the video here for a second because it's showing the auto map and like this game came out of the gate with so many. I don't want to say first because obviously there were maps and games before, but the way it did the map, this ray rendered map, where like previous auto maps were because you were doing the blob style, like you were in this square, then you were in this square. This is
Mhm.
what you've seen. Like if you run past something and your camera didn't touch that wall, it doesn't get put on the auto map, so you'll see a gap where it was, and if you find one of the power-ups that gives you a map for the level, it still shows the difference between where you've been and where you haven't. And there are games today that need to remember that's really important, and they forget
Yeah,
about it.
totally. And you can like I didn't remember this, but you can mark places on the map and zoom in. Like it's a really rich auto map, which is kind of necessary because the levels are so complicated and there's
Yeah.
like secrets within secrets and switches all over the place. So having the ability to like zoom in, zoom out, mark up the map is really huge. And I definitely like, when I was 13, I was just running around this thing,
Oh
killing
yeah.
everything that moved. But now, like coming back, I appreciate that so much more.
Hmm.
Because if you're one of those people that where it's important to you to find all the secrets and uh, you're gonna need to mark up the
Mark up
map
the map a
and
little
kind of
bit.
keep track of things.
Yeah, I one of the things I think the secrets is a good point in that this game offers multiple play styles and makes them sort of like a choose your own game goal without that sort of stupid freeform where you're like, okay, it's open world, I guess, and uh, that the choose your own play style is a crutch for the developer to not actually include a play style.
Right.
Because when you finish a level, it tells you how fast you got through it, how many kills you got, how many secrets you got, and how many items you got. And you can try to 100% a level where you get all those, or you can try to go as fast as you can, or you can do both, but you're not going to set a record if you do everything.
Right.
So you get to choose what's important. What makes you feel like you did an awesome job on this level, and then just try and ramp that up.
I like that they give you a par time too for each
Mm-hmm.
level, so you know like whereabouts you should be.
Right.
Uh, I thought that was really cool.
And this is where I got off track on this. I was saying like this game came out as sort of the first one of these, and it set so many flags and standards for gaming
Hmm.
that most things have abandoned, forgotten, or don't do anymore because they're going for some other. Even like Doom 3 really didn't do this. This knows it's a game.
Yeah,
So many things try to be something more than a game, and they fail at everything because of it.
totally. Yeah, like these are short levels. There's no objectives. Uh, it's not like a
There are
narrative
no
story
required
experience.
objectives. Yeah, but they
Right.
will like show you the chainsaw through a window
Right.
and be like, go get it if you can. It's hidden through like two secrets and a secret that only unlocks after you do a thing.
Right. And
Like,
that's what's great about it. Like even on this part where you're walking now, you can look out those windows and see that there's shit out there, and like I can go out there and get that stuff. I
how?
just need to find out how. Yeah, and that's great.
Hmm.
The secrets are such a huge part of this game too. Like I didn't really remember that,
Yeah.
um, but that was the case in Wolfenstein too.
Well,
It's a lot of bumping up against walls.
and looking and how much fun that is. And that's a funny part from the Masters of Doom book where Carmack didn't want secrets. He felt
Really?
it slowed down the engine, it made it inelegant. It wasn't he didn't think it needed to be in there because he was so focused on the tech, and Tom Hall fought and fought and fought. And eventually Carmack came on Hall's side and pushed a little bit harder, and Carmack finally relented. Um, and I'm so glad he did because neither of these games would be good without secrets. Neither of these games would be classics without the secrets of it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something satisfying about noticing something and then like piecing together the solution to it. Uh, and you would lose that, I think.
Well, and that's the thing about these secrets. Maybe not so much in Wolfenstein, but like the secret I'm looking for in here is how to get outside. The
Hmm.
secrets in here you have to piece together. To get outside, you have to go into a secret in one room, unlock a bunch of stuff, then go to another place because it's unlocked a secret somewhere you can't see. I think that would be considered bad game design today, and I gotta say I'm sad for that because I love it. I
Yep.
love that.
And this I like that the sound is really good in this too, because you can get clues about what's happening in the level as you
Mm-hmm.
know flip switches and stuff through the sound, and that's like it's subtle but it's really important. uh and Doom was great about that. Like you hear the enemies all make their own noises.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the noises are different, you know, for each enemy depending on if they're shooting at you or attacking you close up or whatever. um
And it's
that
hard.
adds a lot.
Yeah, it adds a ton, and it's when you listen to them today, they don't sound maybe as visceral or as scary or as plentiful as we can do with some modern games. But I can tell you at the time, I had roommates who had nightmares because I was playing Doom in the dark. And they're
Hmm.
trying to go to bed and they're hearing Doom noises like while they're
Yeah.
trying to fall asleep, and it just terrified them. And going through some of these levels out of ammo, 'cause I'm better at ammo conservation today than I was then, but out of ammo with nothing but a chainsaw and the lights are off or flickering and you come around a corner and there's a demon like right in your face.
Yeah.
It makes you jump.
Yep. That is another aspect of the level design that I think is really fantastic. They're great at sticking monsters in little corners and
Mm-hmm.
then springing them on you.
It's such a haunted house vibe. It's such a like, and then something pops out of the closet and goes ooga booga booga booga,
Right.
and it works. It absolutely works. Uh, because it because going back to what I said before, it never tries to take itself as anything other than a game. It they used like military blueprint layouts to give it some sense of like believability in terms of layout, but at
Hmm.
the same time never said we have to adhere to this. They just made it fun. And like let's add a secret in a computer panel that opens up and gives you invulnerability and then unlocks a wall to close down somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing about the levels too, like I was playing, I think it's the second mission, the Shores of Hell, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's like a warehouse, and it looks like a warehouse, but it's never like you're never like gonna come into the kitchen where they're where the hell demons are cooking
Right.
lunch, but there's still like parts where you can kind of tell like what they are, and
Right.
that's cool. Like it adds some
Mm-hmm.
variability.
Yeah. One of the
This
th- hmm?
Go ahead.
No, you
uh,
go.
I was gonna say this made you sick though.
Yeah.
Didn't I
38
didn't have
minutes.
any problems with motion sickness.
I am and I posted some stuff in places asking people how they handled it, and some people are like, you just have to build your tolerance back up. Was sort of the takeaway from all of it. There were some suggestions like do this with frame rate or try and load ZDoom or something like that, but mostly it was, yep, happened to me. You got to play and then play again and just slowly, you know, figure out where your bar is, stop a couple moments sooner, and then expand it.
Yeah, that's a bummer. It it wasn't uncommon though when these games first came out too for people to get motion sick.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I never had any problem, but
That
uh,
was, yeah, like I didn't back in the day either, which is what confused me. But 38 minutes in, I started getting a fever and couldn't like
man,
just started feeling nauseous and like what is going on? And walked away from the computer and like 5 minutes later was totally fine.
wow, that's a
So
bummer.
it is because like I love Duke, I love this game. I'd love to go back and play more of these. So I'm gonna work on that for the next couple games so that I can actually sit down and play. But having to go take a few hours break when I had a day set aside to play this was
Right.
a total bummer. Was a total bummer. Um, one of the things I'm like, we talk about nostalgia and how our view of something changes over time, like what we thought then versus what we think now. I found the pacing of this far less frantic than I remember it being. Did you experience that?
Um, it was less frantic and more finding my way around.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that there are definite moments where you find yourself in combat with multiple monsters and different types of monsters where it does get
Yeah.
it definitely gets frantic, but it's the overall experience coming back to it was way more like noodling out the levels and how they work and much less just dodging, fireballs and stuff.
Right. Well, even the combat where you're dodging fireballs and things, I felt very capable of like seeing the fireball come and getting out of the way and like getting to a corner and like lining up my shots and being able to be very deliberate with how I fought, which in a game like this where you need to worry about how much ammo you have is, important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, thank God they don't make you reload though. And
Did
no
it make you
stamina
what?
bar. Don't make you reload and
Oh
no
god,
stamina
yeah.
bar.
I loved that it would switch your gun automatically if you got a better like
Yes.
better ammo for a better gun. It would just switch it. Oh, bless you, Doom, because that is great.
If you want to make a first person shooter, other than the physical keyboard controls, which I'm going to talk about in just a second here,
Oh yeah,
uh, you need to play Doom. You need to just take notes and do your best to get as close to this as possible. Sort of my takeaway. Because yeah, I can't think of anything other than keys I would change. And this is not my normal ESDF thing, which I mean, still, but
yeah.
these are just bad. These are just we didn't have the left-handed mouse standard yet.
Right.
So
And I think if you could have your druthers when it comes to layout, and you could have the correct key combination of WASD and the mouse, I think it would be way too easy because I think you would
agreed.
just tear ass through this game, and no one would be able to touch you. Now, there are mouse controls with Ultimate Doom, but they didn't work the way it said they were going to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
It says mouse button 2 is walk forward,
Yeah.
but that's not true. Was it
Right.
true for you?
It depended on which version I was playing. So I have a I don't have the box here. I just have my it's this yeah. I did leave the box here. Like I have my like box
Oh
version I
wow.
installed.
Yeah.
Um which is great. And so that's what I ended up playing because I tried to use the Steam version and the Steam version is not the same experience as I got just doing my old box.
Hmm.
The Steam version, like the mouse button did make me move forward, but it turned off my other forward button, which
Oh,
is not what I wanted. So I had to like move left and right and stuff using the other hand anyway, and
right.
then still had to use the mouse to move forward. And I'm like, you've now split my movement between two hands. That is the worst.
Yeah. I ended up just using the arrow keys and
Mm-hmm.
control alt and shift.
Yep.
It's way better with the mouse, but like I don't want to like row my mouse constantly.
Right.
I played the good old games version of
Okay.
Ultimate Doom. Uh, and yeah, the mouse button did not make me walk forward, and I did no research into fixing it or anything. Um, but yeah, like, do you remember when like circle strafing was like a skill that
Oh
was
yeah.
uh, highly desirable in like a friend?
Yeah.
And now it's not a big deal, and I was trying and going back, like I realize why because it's it's really hard to do
Do
uh,
you
with it.
remember when you set up your rudder pedals for strafing?
I do.
That was so great. Like the first time we
That
do
was
it,
smart.
I'm like, God damn, he's good at it with those.
Yeah, rudder pedals, man. Why isn't that part of every
I don't
computer
know.
setup? Because they had a million uses.
Yeah, and there's somebody who's listening right now whose mind just got blown. Went, why didn't I think of that? I had
Right,
rudder pedals. Yeah.
right. They were great. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was I forgot about that, but yeah, it totally was fun.
Yeah, and that was like you were more willing back then to go in and mess with stuff to set it up the way you want. Today, I'm like, I go into the settings and I'm like, oh, no way to remap keys. Guess I'll deal with it.
Yep.
And that's a horrible attitude, personally. Like, of all people, I should be the one who's willing to be like, all right, I'm going to go in and figure this out. But,
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's
mm,
just a sign of the times. It would be
yeah.
like you'd spend a week making a boot disk.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not so much after the DOS extender came out, but you'd like yeah, and then you'd have to go in and like set up all the keys, and you'd have to know what DMA channel your sound card was using and all this other shit. It was like super in depth to get these games working.
Mm-hmm.
So you were just like it was just what you did. You were like in the shit, you know.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, so I got my my IRQ settings right. Now I'm gonna make my rudder pedals work, and it was just fine. It's like
That's what
par
we
for the
do.
course.
Yeah.
But now it's like this didn't immediately work. What do I do?
I got other games to play. Bye.
Yep. Yeah. But you're right. It is sad.
It is sad. It's sad on me. Uh, we should talk about the rest of the interface because again, such a good UI. That little bar at the bottom does,
Everything you need to know is on that bar.
hmm, and it does it
Uh,
without interrupting any of my playstyle. Nothing gets hidden behind anything. Uh, it gives your character by showing his face without me ever having to see him. Like he's grunting every time he gets hit. He's like gets beat up and bloodied and crouches down as he takes more damage. And
hmm Yeah. The interface, except for the controls, is pretty much perfect.
yeah.
When you hit a guy, you feel like you're hitting the guy. When you're taking damage, you feel like you're taking damage. The sound is cues you in on kind of what's going on in the room. Uh, the way you interact with
Hmm.
Doom, aside from the horrible keyboard
Yeah.
and mouse controls, is really solid.
Really solid. And I just was watching this and it made me think of something like I'm a couple levels in and my shotgun's still killing guys in one blast. And I just want to kind of take a moment because it's a stray thought on this. Thank you for not jacking up the hit points on levels artificially. Like
Yes.
killing a demon of that type with a shotgun kills a demon of that type with a shotgun now and at the end of the game.
The reason my thinking on this is that it's kind of like the zombie movie mentality where if you come across one imp or even one of the floaty demons, how do you
Mm-hmm.
pronounce them? Cacao,
Caco
Kayako,
demons? Caco demons?
Kako demons.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you can handle that fine, even with a pistol.
Yeah.
But where it gets scary is when you come across a bunch of guys and you have to deal with getting shot at from multiple angles, and people are coming behind you, and you're
Mm-hmm.
kind of running, but then you're running into more guys. It's really a great way of ramping up the difficulty instead of making more like there's plenty of bullet sponges in
Oh,
Doom, like the boss fights,
yeah.
but as you're moving through the levels, that's what's making it
Mm-hmm.
scary and fun and challenging is dealing with
Suddenly you
a
hear a
shit
noise
show.
behind you. Yeah.
Right,
Like,
right.
oh shit. And you watch things flying past you and you're like, but I got a guy in front of me. I still got to
Right. And especially when you're only using the fucking keyboard because he turns around so goddamn slow. Oh, that drove me crazy. Like you're getting hit and it's just like slowly rotating like a oscillating fan.
Yep.
It
Come
just drove
on.
me nuts.
Come on, buddy.
Like, you're getting killed. Spin around.
Speaking of getting killed in the game, like if you die on a level, you can either reload, which you should probably do, or it will set you back at the beginning of a level with just the pistol.
Fuck that.
I might as well be permadeath. Might as well just make me reload. Because at some of these higher levels, that's I guess you could do it, but
Yeah. It's a real kick in the gut
mm-hmm.
to ask you to restart without any guns.
Right.
Uh, they're good at scattering guns um, throughout the levels and everything, but like they gave you quick save for God's
Mm-hmm.
sake. Like
Use it.
just use it and like don't.
I was gonna say, not only do they give you a quick save, one of the things I think is really generous that they do is at the end of each level, they just give you a handful of like health and stuff power ups to get you ready for the next level.
Yeah,
The
that's good.
game,
I
yeah,
appreciate that.
the game wants to give you, the player, a power fantasy in a horror game. That's another thing that just I don't think anyone else would have thought to do that. Like either it's a horror game and you need to be scared and the victim all the time, or it's a power fantasy. And so none of that, but they've managed to bring those two intersections together.
Yeah, yeah. It's a remarkable game, and it met all my expectations when I started playing it. So did Quake. Like Quake did too.
Yeah.
Uh, when that came out, I thought it was going to be good. It was really good. I was not disappointed. But
Mm-hmm.
everything since then in my life has largely been a disappointment. So I've learned to not look forward to anything. Like I have Quake and Doom, and the rest I'm just like whatever.
Especially your choice in friends, right?
Exactly. I wasn't going to
Big.
say it, but since you
No,
said it,
I'll say it. I'll say it.
yeah.
Um,
There
instructions.
were. What's that? I'm sorry.
Instructions. Did you look up the instructions?
No.
I was like done with everything and going through and adding notes and was like, I need to at least talk about the instructions. Let me go take a look at what they look like. Because I had, until literally doing this video, never seen the instructions for Doom and never needed them.
Mm-hmm.
But I went and looked at them. They're really good. They're
Really?
really good instructions. Spells out what all the monsters are, spells out what all the weapons are. Gives you a nice little story. The graphics are great. You can find them on the id website still. Just really good instructions.
That's
So,
awesome.
like, did not expect that. Expected the instructions to be point your gun at stuff, shoot it.
Right. Hit escape and look at the read this screen.
Right?
That's what I did. But yeah, I vaguely remember them because it like tells you kind of the story and
Mm-hmm.
everything too. It's like those kind of instructions.
Yeah, and I think it comes from they knew they were doing this out of shareware. So they knew that people weren't going to have the instructions, which is kind of why I'm impressed they went and put the time into making good ones.
Mm-hmm.
But they did.
Yeah.
Can we talk for a second about the range of the shotgun?
Oh yeah, it is real good.
I'm
Yeah.
watching my guy shoot guys with a shotgun that no other game would let you do.
No, no. The shotgun in Doom is a shotgun by name only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does more damage close up, but it does plenty of damage far away.
Yeah, it's just fine.
uh,
The brass knuckles though are infuriating.
oh yeah.
There's no worse feeling than when he whips those fucking brass knuckles out because you're out of ammo. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm just gonna die.
I'm just done now. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and that's why I got better eventually at just ammo conservation and like, you know, be really careful with when you're shooting and where you're shooting.
I,
So I never
again, like talking about the level design, it's so like they dole out ammo drops so perfectly that you're
Mm-hmm.
always like on the cusp of running out, but you're rarely just like totally screwed unless you're just like not being careful at all, which
Right.
I often am not being careful at all. So
Right. But no, just every part of the level. Like I could probably take a couple hours and just break these levels down one at a time and talk about each part of what made this a really good design level. It's so much stuff we're kind of circling because I don't feel like we've got enough time to do it justice.
yeah, yeah, it's like a master class in level design, really.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
I mean, it's a masterclass in tech design too, but
yeah, this tech was amazing, and this they use this engine for
so much stuff.
for Doom 2, and then did you play Heretic and Hexen? Do you remember those
Yeah,
games?
I did
They
play Heretic
were
Connection.
Doom engine.
Yep.
Uh, did you ever play Chex Quest?
You know, I did not. And it was one of the things that kept coming up as I was going through this. I'm like, I should go and play Chex Quest.
It's supposed to be really pretty good.
Yeah.
Uh, I have not played it either, but I
Oh, I
would
thought you were going to say
really
you had. I was hoping to hear something about it.
no.
Maybe we'll
But
do that as a short game coming up.
that would be a great idea. Yeah, Chex Quest came in Chex cereal,
Mm-hmm.
as you probably figured out. And it's based on the Doom engine, and you're like some kind of serial related superhero. I don't know. And there's aliens. It's ridiculous, but apparently it's really good. So much so that they made two of them.
Two of them. Okay.
Yeah. There's Chex Quest and Chex Quest 2. Phimoids take Chextopolis, I believe is the subtitle.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Great title, too.
We need to talk about, and I can't believe we've gotten this far in and we haven't brought it up, all the mods that came out for
Yes.
this game.
Oh, that was also like formative in my love of IT in my
Yes.
career, because like all of a sudden you could make your own shit with Doom.
How many IT people do you think came out of because there was Doom?
I'm
Like a
sure
lot.
tons.
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it stepped everything up. But like what was your favorite mod back in the day?
Um I mean, the one I remember the most was the Barney mod that turned the pink demons into Barney.
Yeah.
Um and I have mixed memories of it, because at first I thought it was like hilarious, because it
Mm-hmm.
is. But man, it gets really annoying really fast, because of the sound clips and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I had like Homer Simpson Doom, where I had
Yep.
all kinds of sound packages, and there were all kinds of levels. Like I had friends who
Yeah.
built our high school in Doom, and yeah, that's not okay to do anymore, but we all kind of did it, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I feel like
which
that's a
ones do you
natural
remember?
thing to do because you want to feel in the game. You
Yeah,
know, I understand why it is. I also understand why it's not kosher anymore. But I do think that wanting to do something like that is natural.
totally.
It's
Yeah.
what people have done. It's the other connotations that come with it that we're going to dance on
Right.
past right here. Um, did you ever get to try back then the Alien Doom?
Yes, I am
It was
sure that I did.
so good.
Yeah, the little face huggers, weren't they in there? And
Hmm.
yeah,
And stuff would crawl. If I'm remembering right, stuff would crawl on the walls and ceiling too, coming at you. It was
yeah,
so good. And then there were a ton of Star Wars Dooms. Um,
there was everything, man. It was Wild Wild West.
I think the Star Wars Dooms, oddly enough, were what got me back into Star Wars in the extended universe. Like I liked Star Wars, but then playing like the Star Wars Dooms and stuff was like, oh yeah, this is a really cool universe that I want to know more about. Where
Right.
when it was just the movies, it's like, yeah, okay. But all the expanded stuff that came with it was just so
And
really
every
made
time
it.
you booted one up, it was like unbelievable that it was a thing that you could do and that it
Right.
worked.
Yeah.
It was just that that's a really amazing part
Mm-hmm.
of this game. And there was like community around it, and there still is, like, to
Yeah.
this day there's people who are modding Doom.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that
Um,
got you Brutal Doom, and then
right,
Brutal Doom helped, inspire the new Dooms, is my understanding,
right.
with their brutal glory kills and stuff like that. And that's great.
Yeah, it's all good.
I miss it's really, oh, one of the things we should do a show on sometime is modding, how it's changed, what it means, what it was, because you've got modding like it was back then, which was this sort of inspiring, player supportive, encouraging, proactive, some word I'm looking for in there. They really celebrated them. That's what it was. Celebratory of like players and people who made things. And it really lets you get your teeth wet and or cut your teeth, and I'm mixing metaphors now.
Whatever.
But like because of it we got some of the new Dooms. We got Counter Strike from mods, from modders and stuff like that.
Right, Team
Team
Fortress.
Fortress. And now I'm watching companies like Bethesda try and cash in on the modders rather than let the modders take the lead. And it's so disappointing because I understand maybe you could squeeze a couple bucks out of people by grabbing someone else's mods of your game,
Hmm.
but I have a feeling it's penny wise pound foolish, that you're actually hurting your own games, hurting their long tail.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't you want to foster that kind of love for what you did?
Let it be love. Right. Don't try to businessize love. It doesn't work. And you just alienate
Yep. Yeah, it's a shame.
people. Hmm.
There's still great modding communities, but
Yeah.
it seems like, and I wonder if, like, if the focus on the game, the engine, because this engine was so revolutionary,
Hmm.
I could see it being appealing to, like, just let turn people loose on it and see what they
Hmm.
come up with. Whereas I don't think anyone's doing anything really that revolutionary anymore with uh, with 3D game engines, because this isn't even a 3D game engine,
No.
really.
No.
This is a 2D.
The faux 3D. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
2D, but
it's
like,
brilliant how they did it.
yeah. But it's
Um,
also part of why the maps work. Like you go into something like Daggerfall, which came out a little bit later, and the maps start to overlap, and now that map is worthless.
right,
But the map in here works because you're never going to be under another part. So,
right, right, because it was impossible
hmm,
because it's 2D,
yeah,
which is bizarre. It's even like Wolfenstein was 2D too, and Wolfenstein's a little easier to, like, understand if you read
yeah,
or watch a video on how it was done. But, like, the way this Doom engine works is just, like, really bananas. Like, I
and
can't imagine being that smart.
no, Carmack is one of those where whenever I start feeling a little cocky about my own coding skills or anything, I think about Carmack and I'm like, you hack.
Yep. Yeah.
You hack. Just get back in line, buddy. You ain't that good.
Yep.
Uh, something like this, it just totally keeps me humble. And it sounds odd, but that encourages me as a developer to have something I can still grow on, still work towards, and not get complacent.
Totally. Yeah.
Speaking of working and stuff like that, I have in my notes, I want to talk about two books because there's The Masters of Doom, which is the book about this, and I want to. Is this the no? Let me do it this way. I want to look up the name of the book. You got. Give me a second here to.
Oh, sure.
So,
Yeah, I have not read Masters of Doom, uh, but it seems like everyone kind of has heard rumblings about the personalities at id Software.
Mhm.
So
So I listened to 2 books on Audible back to back: Masters of Doom and Stay a While and Listen. Stay a While and Listen is about the 2 Blizzards and how they formed and came together, and Masters of Doom is how id Software formed and fell apart. And I listened to Stay a While and Listen first, and immediately wanted to go form my own game company. Like I was gonna get you, and we're gonna do this. We're getting in the van. We're making this happen. To
sure.
just see how friends can get together and build something amazing when they're all on the same page. And then you listen to Masters of Doom. And I want to stay friends with you, so we are never building a game company together.
That bad? Is it that bad?
It's really bad. You end up, there's some parts in there. Eventually, they all kind of made their peace with each other, but there's some chapters in there that I've worked at a place where a guy threw furniture at me. I never want to work at what that id was. It
Wow.
seemed so toxic and so backbitey. If you listen to the book, it just was really hard to listen to. I can see both of them being crucibles for amazing stuff coming out of the way they built it, but it did it through, the fires of hell, basically. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's interesting. Anytime I guess you have people that are that brilliant smashed together,
well, and when everybody's that sure of their own ideas and their own direction, and no one's really trying to bring them together in a uniform way,
hmm
you end up with personalities clashing.
but like
Everybody
it
too sure themselves.
it totally like delivered though, which is kind of amazing if you think
Mm.
about it. To have so much conflict and so much uh disagreement.
Well, I think it's because everybody was so talented that it didn't matter who won, they were both right. And rather than see that and celebrate each other and try and figure out how to give and take, they fought until somebody backed down. That's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, like if they got along, I wonder maybe it wouldn't have been as good if they all got along though. You just never know.
You never know. You never know. I know that I didn't like Quake 2 as much as I liked Quake. And I think it was
That's
because of
true.
level design. And that's right when Romero left. The tech was definitely better. The
Yeah.
tech was amazing. But then we take something like Daikatana, and oh my God, that was awful. I know there are people who look back on it today and are like, oh, it wasn't that bad. And it's on our list, so we'll find out for sure again. But I got
hmm
it the day it came out because I was hyped. And
Right.
even if John Romero was going to make me his bitch. Um,
Right. Better than getting shot with a shotgun by Bill Gates.
yes. we
This was so formative that when it came out, Bill Gates made this definitely ill-advised video about how Windows 95 was going to like launch us into the future of gaming,
Mhm.
and it featured him with a shotgun and a trench coat coming out
Of Doom.
of Doom, like he was the Doom guy the whole time. And oh man, like you got to find that sucker on YouTube because it is a thing.
But I'll try and remember to link it in the comments, but it is absolutely a thing. Um, what's funny about it is like, and it made me actually respect Bill a little bit
Me
because
too.
like,
I liked it. I thought it was charming.
yeah, it's charming. And if you read the Masters of Doom, they talk about that video where Doom's being brought in to help promote 95 because this was a DOS game, but there's a 95 version they were going to do and optimize for it. So they were going to announce it at one of their Windows Dev conferences. And they're trying to get the shots up with Bill, and the guy from id is like, oh, I really want him to do this, and all his handlers are like, no, not doing it. And Bill can tell the id guy wants something, and so finally he just shuts his handlers down and goes, "What do you need me to do?" Like, put on this trench coat and walk around with a shotgun? Done. Give me the stuff. And did it.
Wow.
And so that was Bill Gates' decision, and find
Good
it
for him.
good for him. Side thought on that, because I don't get an opportunity to bring this one up enough. If you told me in 1995, the 90s, that I would have little to no respect for Steve Jobs and Apple and what he had done with Apple, and a lot of respect for Bill Gates, called you a liar.
Yep, I
And
know.
it's really changed for me as I've gotten older. Not saying either of them have done everything great or everything bad, but
No, it's definitely yeah.
yeah, it's just flipped over the years. Just flipped over the years.
Right. And if you told me Steve Wozniak was going to hang out with Kathy Griffin, I would have been like, okay, whatever, I
I
quit.
don't know, world. You just do you, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
um, Anything else
Yeah.
we want to say about Doom? I mean, I'm surprised how much we said about a game that's already had everything said about it.
Yeah. I think we covered it. I think we talked about, everything I wanted to say. It was
Yeah.
a great experience to come back to it. Like I was
Mm,
a little afraid that it wouldn't hold up or
right.
whatever, but I thought it was great. I still think it's great.
Mm-hmm. I think this episode is a good example of how we're a book club and not a review. Because other channels, other shows would have done this more of that. This is just us doing this. This is what we bring to you. So if this is your first time here again, welcome. This is what we do for all our games. Enjoy.
Yep.
We hope you enjoy. We hope you play with us. Speaking of playing with us, our long game this month, Project Firestart. We're already playing it. I already announced it. We're not going to talk about it until we talk about it, but you should play it.
You should play it.
You should play
You should absolutely start playing it
it. Mm-hmm.
now.
We are also doing, and we will be doing again this Thursday, correct?
As far
Deathlord?
as I know.
Okay. Live stream Deathlord this upcoming Thursday. It'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see if Matt can figure out the puzzle I couldn't figure out. Probably someone else has. I'm not going to mention who. I'm not going to mention where I saw it. Please don't look for it, Matt, until after Thursday.
I am a man of my word. I won't go look up the Deathlord solutions.
Yeah, because it's, and then after that, I kind of don't care. But that one, I
Yeah,
just
we're
want
we're
to.
on. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I just want to see how your first experience with this is, because mine was rage-inducing.
I'm sure. I'm sure
But you won't have to wait as long because I'll be there to help you past it
to let me off the hook. Yeah, this is
Mm-hmm.
playthrough 3 of Deathlord for
Yep.
us. We're streaming all of them.
Yep.
It's been a lot of fun. So join us for that.
Okay. Our short game. We loved Beyond Forbidden Forest so much last year. Let's do Forbidden Forest this year for October.
All right, the original Forbidden Forest.
Mm-hmm.
Great cover.
It's got a bee on it.
Yep.
Think it's a zombie.
Oh, definitely a zombie.
Definitely a zombie. Uh, yeah, looking forward to playing that again. It's different than the original, but also, or different than Beyond the Forbidden Forest, the sequel, but also kind of the same. You'll see the things, but it is definitely Paul Norman, and Paul Norman is amazing.
Yes.
Looking forward to doing that one
Love
for our
Paul
short game.
Norman.
Paul, if you're watching, please come on and talk to us.
Yep. Come hang out with me at my house.
Yeah, wherever, however you want to do this. Don't even need to come
Whatever.
on the show. Let's just hang out, talk. You can tell
I'll
me
get
stuff because
pizza.
I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Um, Other than that, anything else we would need to say before we wrap this bad boy up?
I have no Lost Sectors business to discuss.
Fantastic. Then with that, goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.